We are into game number 1 in the best of 7 between FreakinAndy. Let me refresh the scoreboard real quick, and then we'll take a look at the civs. There we go. We'll catch up to lifetime. TaToH playing as the Khmer, bringing in the boar with the scout. Pretty typical stuff. This is Regicide, so both players have their kings out exploring the map for right now. And FreakinAndy going for the Burgundians. I can't exactly remember the build order on Fortress. Most of these maps will have a 9 villager start, but Fortress is special and I believe has a 10 or 11 villager start. And so fortresses can spawn directly opposite as we have here on the minimap, or they can spawn a little bit closer to each other. I think this arrangement favors the Burgundians, who are slightly more mobile than the Khmer, but it's hard to tell. This gold is just, one of the extra golds. Neutral golds are pretty fair. 3 tiles, 3 tiles. Relics look very fair as well. And I don't think we'll have any king snipes to start off the match, but you never know. Both players lured in their boars with their scout and are now sending the scout back to their castle to heal up for now. The Khmer can't get off to a faster castle age time since they don't need to build any of these extra buildings. Players do have a stable if they wanted to go for something like a stable, or sorry, they start with a barracks if they wanted to go for a stable and a blacksmith or something like that. One of those combinations they could. And TaToH already up, which just goes to show how quickly the Khmer can get up. And he already has pre-queued some farms, being very efficient, keeping all the villagers on the boar, limit the amount of rot the boar has, and then has pre-queued the farms for when they're done. If I know TaToH, he will have shift-clicked every single villager to the exact farm. Yeah, look at that. They spread out perfectly. Beautiful stuff right there. And then goes out to build another lumber camp. Meanwhile, FreakinAndy did get double bit already, saving the other upgrades for later. The castle does not help you as a building to get up until, of course, you're trying to get up to the Imperial Age, at which point you don't need any prerequisite buildings. Any other prerequisite buildings, I should say. So yeah, pretty straightforward right now. We can take a look at player scoutings. FreakinAndy, just seeing, I guess, if they have a very close rush distance, if they're very close together. Rush distance is the term they use in the deathmatch community, which is where FreakinAndy has kind of come up to the scene. He was a deathmatch player before he was an RM player. And King now being sent to the tower in the back. Now that scouts are extra fast in Feudal Age. I want to make sure these kings stay safe. The head-to-head matchups between TaToH and FreakinAndy actually started in Deathmatch World Cup 3. TaToH won that matchup 4-1. That was back in 2020, though, so I would say FreakinAndy has improved a lot as a player since that time frame. And there we go, TaToH up with no idle TC time. It was just an 18 plus 0. And meanwhile, FreakinAndy looks like he's going to have a pretty clean uptime as well. And now both players scouting around. TaToH sees where FreakinAndy's base is. Neither player necessarily needs relics, like the Lithuanians might, to really get their full upgrades on their cavalry. But it would be nice for the Burgundians. They'll get a little bit more food from those relics as well, from their team bonus. And behind this, I just expect a bit of a boom game for both players until they reach Imperial Age. The Khmer, I guess, could try to chop through a forest. The last time this map has been played in tournament settings in recent time, I think, was in Sudden Disaster, the tournament, I believe, hosted by John Slow. And that's a map where you only start with one town center, and you can only build one town center. And so players would find a way to cut through and destroy the town center as soon as possible. Sometimes wait for Imperial Age, sometimes attack before then. And you can see that Khmer bonus of not needing any buildings to go up means that TaToH can get up 2 villagers earlier, start building those town centers, and his population is just going to go semi-exponential from there. Meanwhile, FreakinAndy has collected about 400 extra resources, getting those Burgundian resources in a little bit earlier. And interestingly, going out for stone, I think this is actually interesting. Going off berries before they're concluded has villagers, I would assume, ready to build a town center here. Yeah, there we go. There's the town center. But taking him off berries, I guess he feels like he has enough food in the bank. Maybe he'll send the new villagers to the berries. Can I see the task point of the town center? I don't think I can in Capture Age. Just see, okay. Sending new villagers to berries. I was thinking there might be some sort of strategy cooked up here that wasn't just a normal boom, but I really think this map limits how many strategies can be set forward, can be viable. We do have the unique units coming out on the field for the Burgundians. We have the Coustelier, who will be helping fight for those relics. And no monastery yet for TaToH. So he's just happy with the boom. Obviously, when he goes up that quickly, there's only so much he can afford upon reaching the next stage. Meanwhile, FreakinAndy making use of the Burgundians' slightly cheaper eco-techs, getting heavy plow and wheelbarrow. I guess there's no monastery yet for FreakinAndy either. He just made the one Coustelier. He knows he could afford it. Oh, he does have monasteries. Never mind, I'm blind. Making a monk now. And of course, TaToH still has a scout out, so he can still fight for those relics, or at least prevent FreakinAndy from taking them uncontested. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Sunday. I just made a nice lunch of some rice, some broccoli, and some lotus root. And lotus root was one of the foods I was planning to make for one of my Meals of Empires episodes. A series where I look at the different foods of the different empires that are featured in Age of Empires 2. But food specifically that would have been eaten in the medieval period. So you don't have Celts getting potatoes. You don't get any Eurasian African civs getting potatoes for that matter. And of course I make all the foods vegan just because I'm vegan. First relic. Sorry. Something. Something got stuck in my throat there. Apologies. Maybe it was that lotus root I was just talking about. The first relic in for FreakinAndy. Second monk going back out. First monk just taking a little breather, I guess. Deciding where he wants to go next. And TaToH can see as these relics disappear, if he's paying attention. Behind this is making sure he doesn't get housed. Getting horse collar now, which is actually very late. But maybe still worth it in the build order. It's better to get horse collar late than have to idle your TC to afford it. And going for the stable now. Okay. Doesn't need the barracks. Or he already has a barracks, but wouldn't need it. Playing his Khmer. And scouts find each other. Hill bonus potential there for TaToH. And he gets to the top of the hill, takes a few hits, and just decides, just run under the tower. Easy enough. Meanwhile, the monks for FreakinAndy, or that's the Coustelier. Where's the other monk? Monk might have, no, the monk didn't go down. I didn't miss anything. FreakinAndy, obviously on top of the game, knows to run back. And FreakinAndy probably can assume that TaToH only has the one scout now. But there is another one on the way. Oh, I see. Monk being very sneaky. Going all the way around. And then this one also going to go to this relic over here. And now FreakinAndy sees the double monks. Or sorry, double scouts. Completely getting these units wrong. And TaToH immediately going to this relic. He doesn't want to be pulled out of position. Probably leaves one scout there. Yeah. Full HP scout there. And the other one goes over to this other relic. And the monk being so sneaky. Gonna just loop along the edge of the map. TaToH might infer that. TaToH going for a 5 TC boom. Holy smokes. He's like, your Burgundian bonuses are not gonna play a factor here. TaToH trying to get this relic, stop it from coming in. And FreakinAndy using the Coustelier to try to find where these scouts have gone. I imagine this relic is just gonna slowly inch all the way to the edge of the map. Could try to come around this back gate, but I think TaToH's just going to sit right in front of these gates. He knows that's the bottleneck. Custier against a scout. You can see Custier getting some heavy damage in right away, and scout running away on 1 HP. If only FreakinAndy had been able to afford forging. And look at that little neat town center. Doesn't want to delete his walls, I guess, just in case he needs them later. Might create some issues with the villager pathing, but I guess the hard point on the town center, the part you can't path through, is in this back section. So the villagers will still be able to path around, so not too bad a setup. I really wish you could set a task point for town centers before they were completed. But there are some new gather point techniques that I just realized or recognized the value of yesterday when we were watching a set on this very same map. Or was it on... No, it was on the first map, Chaos Pit between Sito and Sorokuma, where they had castles right next to each other. And when you have castles right next to each other, say, here's TaToH's and here's FreakinAndy's, you want to make sure your Treb goes on the far side of the castle so it's more protected and then shoots over. And you can use that with shift clicking now. Before, you had to send out your Treb, wait for it to be produced, and then retask it. But now you can just do it with shift clicking. And hopefully that works. I haven't actually tested it out myself. More fighting in the middle. More Custier is being produced. Monk is just hiding out on the sidelines. Does announce its presence. Custier trying to block, but won't get there in time. Don't even... Okay, get a pick off on one scout. The other scout running back. Knights are also being added into the engagement by TaToH to help deal with the power that Custier add to the battlefield. No husbandry for either player yet. And first one to click up is FreakinAndy after finishing his what is it called? Not heavy plow. Handcart. And he's thinking about a forward castle as well, using his unique unit to take early map control and go for early pressure, as TaToH was being a little bit more greedy. And he's going to take just that little corner of the hill to make sure his castle has the high ground, which means it's a little bit harder to destroy. Unless, is there another... I mean, unless, yeah, TaToH's had a trap on the far side of the castle. Or maybe here. I don't think you can reach that. Too many tiles. TaToH's vision doesn't see much. Just sees the Custi there hanging out. Maybe thinking, okay, another monk's going to come forward for this last relic. And so far, nope. Monks have just brought back the 3 relics for FreakinAndy, and TaToH did manage to snag one of his own. FreakinAndy a little bit low on wood. Might have to buy some. And he does indeed do that to make sure he has enough wood for his first Treb. And we have some ballistas as well as a monk. I don't think FreakinAndy has seen the monks yet from TaToH, but he will see the composition thanks to this outpost. The monk might slip by, but he has an idea. And Custier do not want to get converted. I don't think they can two-shot a monk. And FreakinAndy actually deciding not to build that castle and instead go for what I would consider more of a clown play and go for a forward monastery instead, which I like. I mean, it's not really a clown play. It's just a counter to these ballistas. TaToH, on the other hand, getting ballistics for his ballistas. And both of them, I think, were going for that relic. And then TaToH realized, oh, I'm not winning this fight. I need to go back. I need to wait for my monks. Gonna go for a second monastery. TaToH realizing, oh, I haven't clicked up yet. Better go ahead and do that. Monk will try to reconvert the Custier. Stop the conversion for a moment. The monk must have been misclicked. Custier actually going to win a fight there under the castle. And Custier are running around to avoid this monk's conversion. Ballista's thinking about going forward. And we have a game pause. Did we have a drop? I don't see any comments about it. Devotion obviously going to be a very good tech for both players. FreakinAndy going for block printing to get extra range, extra 3 range on his monks. And TaToH almost looks like he's going to ignore this pressure and just go forward with the ballistas. Or maybe he's cutting off reinforcements. I'm not entirely sure what this means. And I kind of think they might go for Atonement, but we will see. Block printing in, so that monk is trying to range that elephant, but there are 2 light cabs still hanging out here, waiting in the wings. Light cab gonna try to take a hit. Don't quite get it. Custodier just packed too much of a punch too quickly. And that monk had, if the Custodier jump into the castle, they reset the conversion. And no, the monk just gets pulled back. And yeah, these Ballista Elephants have just decided to go forward, can cut through and cause some havoc. That's exactly what TaToH's going for. He needs to cut one more tree though, and at the same time has to focus on his economy back at home. He does have more castles behind that can continue to produce Ballista Elephants, but he doesn't want to have to unnecessarily lose one. Monk actually gets a conversion there on the light cav. And that was also with Devotion having come in for TaToH, so he'll soon get to the Imperial Age as well. Could get more techs to prevent... actually, I don't think Khmer get... what's it called? Heresy. I'd be surprised if they do. Most elephants, civs do not. And he sees all the light cap coming forward. FreakinAndy's already ready somewhat with a counter. Researching pikemen now, building forward barracks. These trebs, though, are at risk of going down. Custodier are here to take care of the light cap. A few monks here for TaToH to try to convert the Custodier. And looks like, yeah, 1 conversion. Monk goes down after that. Ballista Elephants just don't seem like they're that strong of a unit right now. They're very expensive to upgrade as well. Need a lot of farms. Meanwhile, FreakinAndy just sitting at 20 farms or so and can produce a lot out of that. This definitely feels like it's more of a comfort area for FreakinAndy, especially with these civilizations. That being said, TaToH is in FreakinAndy's base, and these Ballista Elephants are a little bit difficult to convert. With ballistics, they take out the monks, so the monks at best can hope for 1 conversion. And I guess that's why FreakinAndy only has 18 on food right now, focusing on a lot at home as well. Just 1 monastery at home, right? Yeah. No real Custodier being banked up. So many farms being idled. Monks jumping out and forgetting to start the conversion, but the Ballista Elephants being split up, I think, will lead to additional conversions here for FreakinAndy. Technically, that's a good trade, but the issue is FreakinAndy is losing units on both sides. He took out 1 castle, but at what cost if these trebs go down? Three versus 3 Ballista Elephants. Neck and neck in terms of HP. I think this Ballista Elephant might do a little bit more damage. Okay. Loses 1. TaToH pulling back. Wolf trying to get into the engagement as well. And TaToH recognizing that this hill that still has its relic on it might be very important to try to push back FreakinAndy's pressure. A lot of monks have gone down. I don't see the total number of conversions until I look at the statistics. But I don't know if FreakinAndy has gotten all the value from the monks that he will have wanted. More damage from these Ballista Elephants. They're just so tanky. Takes so long to get taken out. FreakinAndy behind this doing a good job of remanaging his villagers. With the exception of maybe this lumber camp over here. Might be running out of wood if he doesn't retask them. So many things for these players to focus on, and they can't let up for a moment if they want a chance to get into the Garrison. Every single match will count. More monks now being produced forward, and it feels like TaToH needs something else in his composition. That these Ballista Elephants are just getting converted too easily. Hussar is what he's teching into now. Also getting siege engineers to get more range on these ballistas. And he might have what it takes now. The cav are more or less fully upgraded. Hussar now getting block printing, or about to. And it feels like FreakinAndy might actually need a bit more in terms of military. Might need some heavy hitters. The Ballista Elephant numbers are dwindled just 1 by 1 with these monks. Help in now for FreakinAndy to try to keep these Hussars from getting in and sniping the monks. But you can see the monks being pulled out of position by the elephants. Hussar getting a few taps, but not quite enough. I know TaToH isn't the clowniest player, but I think getting some monks of his own might not be a terrible play. I don't think Khmer have the worst monks in the game. Might also help to heal some of these tanky units. I don't know if that's the most important thing. TaToH going in with the ballistas. He sees a choke point. He sees monks behind. As long as he targets a unit in front, the ballistas will actually go further than they're intended to go. And yeah, ballistas just charging through. FreakinAndy losing that forward castle, forced to retreat with the monks back into the castle. Halb's coming forward, but getting mowed down by crossbow shots very, very quickly. They are coming in for the trebs. Look like they'll be able to take both of them. And then we'll have to run away. No one can fight these ballista elephants. It is up to the monks to get the conversions and slowly dwindle TaToH's gold supply. Both players also expanding out at around the same time. TaToH sees the gold with the outpost, building a stable here to contest it. And FreakinAndy expanding now. This lone monk is actually quite funny from TaToH. Just acting as a mobile outpost. FreakinAndy even expanding out to here on the gold. I feel like that's a deathmatch player tendency. Doing a very good job of expanding and finding those resources while they exist. And you know, FreakinAndy doesn't have a terrible ballista elephant army of his own right now. Is healing them up as well behind. Free ballista elephants, you could say. Only cost the price of a monk. Both players on full pop now, so it really comes down to composition, taking good fights, and yeah, seeing how much value you can get out of this. Very fun, game one. I say that now, but I might change my tune if this drags on, as it can do. And I think this is going to be a doubt castle from FreakinAndy. Denied. Doesn't have the military here. It's funny. You'd think he'd have the more mobile military, but that's not quite the case. Elite ballista elephant coming in now for TaToH. So these guys are going to be a major menace. Hence why FreakinAndy wanted to get that castle down immediately. That was on the front of TaToH's base. But yeah, now just forced to chase these ballista elephants around the map to try to get his castle up, leaving this section defenseless. If TaToH wants to mount a counter push, he's building trebs of his own, getting masonry, and building up a counter castle here. And it really feels like just this fight has moved FreakinAndy out of position and onto the defensive. Whereas if he was continuing to fight here, he'd be in a much better position. Also, having all of his units on stand ground, I don't know if that's ideal. Or maybe they're just on defensive stance and don't have the vision. I'm not sure. TaToH almost through that gate, if that halberdier had just stayed underneath the gate a little bit longer. And yeah, now letting your opponent get to elite ballista elephant. Just about fully upgraded, I want to say. Very dangerous. Is he going for the king snipe? That would be wild. What is FreakinAndy thinking of doing in response? I mean, there's no point in walling, right? Unless you wall all around this wood line. The ballistas just get in. Hussar over here as well, preventing FreakinAndy from taking any more gold. And just very little military here. FreakinAndy really feels like he's on the back foot now. The king is in this back tower for FreakinAndy. The ballistas seem uncontested. We have monks being produced at home now, but only from one monastery as far as I can tell. Where's the second monastery? Oh, it's under construction over here. And that was a very slow construction. The king now being sent over here. There are some more walls. A new tower is being built for it. And so these ballistas are going to cause a lot of havoc again. People have said that forward siege is an eco play. And I feel like this is kind of an eco play for TaToH. It takes all of the pressure off of his base. He just has to sit the ballistas here, try to prevent them from being converted too much. He is getting faith now to increase the conversion time for FreakinAndy. And he can just cut through the base as much as he wants. Obviously, FreakinAndy doing a good job of re-walling behind it, but not enough. There are more trees to kill. And this choke point... Oh, more walls. I was going to say this choke point is very nice for the ballistas as the hubs get funneled and mowed. Meanwhile, more Hussar coming forward. FreakinAndy trying to get conversions on them, but I think he just announces his position of his monks. Behind, we have Trebs, we have Hussar, we have elite ballista elephants. It feels like it's a little bit too much for FreakinAndy to handle this kind of messy game. Trebs are being deployed now to take out that castle. Ballistas can kind of take care of all the rest. Fight now at FreakinAndy's base, and the monks really need to get their conversions, but it's just full Hussar play in attack for TaToH. More and more outposts to take control of the map is on that gold. Both those neutral golds that FreakinAndy had seen. He's going to go to that neutral stone as well with these villagers. And the fight here should favor FreakinAndy with those converted ballista elephants, those fully upgraded halbs. Oh wait, not fully upgraded halbs. These halbs have no armor. Maybe he's like, they're just going to get mowed down anyways. What's the point of getting armor? But that would be very beneficial. Did he lose his blacksmith? I would doubt he lost it. Unless he built it forward. But I don't... Oh, there it is. Yeah, right in the middle. When he was getting up to castle age. Both players still on healthy gold counts. But obviously, the 3-to-1 relic ratio will help FreakinAndy in the line game. And TaToH doesn't see the relic, or he doesn't remember that relic's there behind his castle. Could be very beneficial to him in the late game. King continually being sent around by FreakinAndy into whatever it seems to be the safest position. FreakinAndy finding a new spot to build up the counterattack. It really feels like once he gets into a castle fight, he does a better job. The monks are one of the more passive or slow units. Even getting Treadmill Crane. This is such a DM player. I can't think of that many RM players that get Treadmill Crane. I actually once made a video on Treadmill Crane, and I asked Hera of all people what he thought about it. He gave me a very, I don't know, polite answer. A very critical answer. But yeah, these Trebs with siege engineers, 4 Trebs already shooting on this castle before it gets built. Might go down before it gets completed. Very nice position here for TaToH. So difficult for the BBC to get any line of sight on these Trebs. The Ballista Elephants just form up a wall. There goes the castle. FreakinAndy might be out of ideas. The only thing I can think that's left is like a King Snipe. Maybe with some Custilier running in. Does still have the res for it. I don't think he's invested into Elite Custilier. Yeah, it's just standard. Fully upgraded Castle Age Custilier. And now we're getting armor on these halbs. Just the first one so far, but at least FreakinAndy has it on his mind that getting some armor on these halbs might make them last a little bit longer against these Ballista Elephants. Last a bit longer to take out the Hussar that just are running in and causing so much havoc in his economy. Sniping all his monks that he needs to convert the ballistas. And the monks are the only reason he can hold a position. Forcing these ballistas back. That's the only thing they're scared of. I know in popular myths and folklore, they say elephants are scared of mice. But these elephants are just scared of monks, the other M word. FreakinAndy forced to repair houses just so he can keep taking wood. He is going to run out of wood eventually if all the pressure is this close to his base. That Treb stack is moving forward onto the next castle. They have it in their sight. Burgundian vineyards in for FreakinAndy so he can get a little bit more gold out of his farmers. But he knows he has a new fight just around the corner. Just having these 4 Trebs sneak in and start taking out your castle with no notice is so difficult to counter, to react to. By the time you notice the Trebs and you start bringing your monks over, your castle is already down to half HP. Monk's still chasing after these ballista elephants, but the Hussar are there to intercept. Monk trying to run away. I don't know how successful they are. Halbs are there. Okay. Monk might... Oh, no. Doesn't make it. Only takes 2 hits, right, from the Hussar to take out the monks. FreakinAndy adding his own Hussar? No, he only gets light cav. These are 4 converted light cav. Or Hussar, I should say. It just goes to show how consistent he's been with these conversions. But it doesn't look good for him. Stuck under 200 pop. Doesn't seem like he can reproduce units fast enough. Now getting the last upgrade for his Halbs. Last armor upgrade. Forcing to build holes in his walls just to keep his units safe and get them to run away. Dodging left, dodging right. Monk's still going down to the Hussar. And now the addition of battering ram is going to make it so hard. There's just so much siege on the field, and it doesn't feel like FreakinAndy has a response to it. Maybe Onager is the play, but no, he's just going to go for more monasteries, try to get more conversions. It feels like Burgundians do better on a map where you can pressure a little bit earlier. And just this raw power of the Ballista Elephant behind here. A unit that just doesn't die. Your investment in the gold lasts for so long. And there we have Siege Ram on the way for TaToH with his 76 farmers, continually pumping out the Hussar, affording the 1,000 food for Siege Ram. And yeah, the Monk just can't get conversions now that Faith is in. Hussar will get a nice raid on the Trebs. Might be able to take them out. Okay, the Burgundians do get Hussar. Never mind, I was incorrect. But yeah, being on stand ground and not shift clicking. I can't imagine how many units have been lost because of stand ground. Or just the lack of value due to stand ground. Meanwhile, FreakinAndy's trying to sneakily take some of that stone. He's getting architecture, but he calls the GG all the same. I think it just comes down to civ pick there. I don't really know what FreakinAndy could have done. I mean, he kind of just got pulled out of position once the Ballista Elephants decided, you know what, I don't want to fight here. I want to fight somewhere else. I think that was just a really nice play there for TaToH. So TaToH taking game 1 of this best of 7. We'll speed up a little bit just to get caught up into game time. There we go. Game number 2 on Migration. TaToH playing as the Malay and FreakinAndy playing as the Dravidians, saving Armenians for a later match, it looks like. And this Migration gen is kind of interesting, a little bit different than what we often see. The middle island and the player positions aren't quite opposite of each. I guess they're still opposite of each other, but it's not like right in the middle of a side. It's off to an angle a little bit. So both players have kind of this slightly safer fish, you could say, on the sides. But it also means that their wood lines are likely a bit more rangeable. Yeah, TaToH not really having any really safe wood lines if it comes to war galleys in the late game. That's not too often the case. With the 9 villagers start, the build order is slightly different, though I'm assuming both these players have practiced it. And TaToH, very unfortunate here, going to push the deer with... Or I don't think that was actually necessary, but tried to push the deer with the fishing ship just to be able to get it to get back off of the shoreline. Was successful in the end. And yeah, both players pushing in their deer. They just start with 3 other water buffalo. Have to make sure not to get housed. And FreakinAndy does the correct play of building that 3rd house before... Or no! Okay, 4th house. I'm a little bit behind. Right. I'll set it back to normal speed now that we're caught up to the game. And it looks like both players are going for a fast castle play, but it's hard to tell. I'm not super familiar with the build order. Dravidians can get that 2nd dock out a little bit faster. And, oh, FreakinAndy already going for the transport. So, already wanting to get across to the middle island to start contesting that immediately before even adding docks. So, it might actually be feudal pressure with a front dock, which will be interesting. And he even actually is able to save one of his water buffaloes. Going for the other lumber camp there. Who's going to be transported over first? Will it be these villagers on the fish? It looks like that is the case. And the scout, all very smooth. could be a lot of clicks to get your transport ship to do what you want it to do, but no. FreakinAndy is a pro. He knows what's up. Villagers are crossed to the mainland along with a scout. Likely find the water buffalo and will hopefully find a location to build that forward dock. Meanwhile, TaToH also on the way up to Feudal Age. We'll actually reach there faster thanks to the melee bonus. Doesn't actually find the water buffalo, but obviously not the most important thing for him.
Hey.
He's probably just going to set a dock down here. This is all he sees, but you can imagine he's happy with this. And he sees his opponent's already up, so might be thinking, okay, that might just be melee. Opponent might just be going for some sort of fast castle play that's a little bit different. FreakinAndy going for the second dock as well. So this is very much a feudal pressure approach. And TaToH now sees, okay, my opponent's up. Is TaToH going to scout for that forward dock? Doesn't look like it at the moment. He's just concentrating on his build order. Making his own third dock. Typically what you see with melee, or one of these fast feudal galley approaches, is you see, you go forward and try to snipe fish, but he sees the docks now, and I might just leave the galleys in behind to try to support this incoming pressure from FreakinAndy. I don't really know who counters whose strategy here. FreakinAndy actually using the strategy that I've talked about before, where you can drop off resources at the dock as long as you click the fish. But yeah, only being able to afford one ship at a time. Might be able to pull the galleys out of position though, but I don't know how much damage he's going to be able to do with this pressure. So these are both hunters right now. Okay, they're just going to go back to hunt, right? Okay, fine. That's all good. All good. No problem there. And behind this, making galleys. Oh, the fire's... Where was the fire being produced? Fire's out from behind. Okay, just checking if any galleys make it around. This is so atypical to see some feudal pressure like this. And FreakinAndy actually investing in fletching as well. The issue here is you'll run out of food under your TC, except that FreakinAndy has transported back the water buffalo he's collected with the scout. So he has more food. It's almost like houseboat now, where you need to transport the water buffalo back to your town center, your starting town center, so you continue to have food. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried. Now these villagers are going back. But now they've been switched to fishermen by clicking this shore fish, and they can drop off their food and be shift-clicked back to the deer here. Very smart play. TaToH still producing galleys. He doesn't know how many ships are in these docks. If FreakinAndy is just trolling him, but he must also guess, okay, FreakinAndy has to invest here. He can't just use this as a distraction. And now the villagers are deciding to go back home. Both players obviously building fishing ships behind. They need those fishing ships in order to be able to get up. Galleys are sent out in two directions. So TaToH will need to track both of these segments. And it looks like he's just sending galleys after one section. And okay, looks like FreakinAndy might just be going home and try to take the fight at home where he has the defender's advantage. Also kind of leaves him TaToH undefended at home. Both players look like they have very similar resources to get up to the next stage. Yeah, just neck and neck in total resources collected. And TaToH's not taking the bait. He's going to stay here and make sure these docks get cleaned up first. I'd say advantage TaToH. As he even scouts one of these water buffalo. So he'll be able to start scouting the middle without even having transported anyone over. I guess the advantage here for FreakinAndy is he's the only one who's on the middle. Also the first one to click up, though TaToH will likely click up right behind and will be faster with the melee bonus. One fire going forward. I don't think it'll get any kills. Fire was there in defense for FreakinAndy. Galley there to help clean up the aggressive fire galley. And yeah, FreakinAndy happy enough to just have map control in the middle and build docks on the sides to build more navy in the future, maybe have more spots for the fishing ships to drop off food, start collecting that fish. And TaToH coming forward with the galleys. I'm going to take a quick bite while we have this slight pause in the action. TaToH was transported over here on the bottom side where he assumed that FreakinAndy wouldn't see him. Is indeed the first one up to Castle Age, immediately getting War Galley and Bodkin Arrow to boost up his galley. The thing with galleys on this map is often it gets so hectic that you kind of lose track of your galleys. TaToH, meanwhile, on the other hand, I should say, is doing a really good job. He's scouting with one War Galley to see what it looks like around FreakinAndy's base, sending the other War Galleys around to, I guess, just trying to find where the fish is, right? FreakinAndy actually bringing all the fish forward, and his slower time might put him at risk here. He's trying to run back with this War Galley mass of his own. TaToH ahead with 4 army. Some of that is a scout, maybe a monk. FreakinAndy see he's kind of trapped. And fishing ships are so important for both these players. Fishing ships are the way they're going to be able to get up to the next age, to Imperial Age. TaToH just pulling him out of position. Demo's looking for a target. Aren't really too many good targets, so Demo just making use of its power while it can. Demo from behind for FreakinAndy finds a really good shot. And FreakinAndy going all in and actually inviting the pressure and making it work out for him. Some weird pathing there as the fishing ships are kind of acting as a blockade. But yeah, FreakinAndy able to finish off these weak fires from TaToH with the War Galleys. And the War Galleys just seemed like they're kind of stuck here. In between the fishing ships. Do get some good kills, some good snipes on the fishing ships all the same though. So at the end of it, 6 fishing ships for 8. And TaToH still reproducing the fires a little bit faster than TaToH, or than FreakinAndy. Both players now up with Town Center in the middle. North versus south. A little bit different than what we typically see on a migration. Player positions aren't like exactly mirrored. There's a little bit of a twisting going on. Not a complete base trade, but something close to it. And TaToH just leaving 1 War Galley here. Could be a nuisance leader. Something else for FreakinAndy to focus on. Looks like TaToH's winning most of these fights. 19 to 15 KD in his advantage. And FreakinAndy still has... He's still committing to War Galley, interestingly enough. War Galley, maybe some demos seem to be like... They're working for him, whereas TaToH's now just shifting off into fires. But you can see it's a lot for FreakinAndy to focus on. Constantly having to micro. Trying to keep his transport ship alive as well. Mug's moving out to collect relics for TaToH. That'll also help out the economy. Yeah, TaToH seems to be winning a lot of these fights here just with fires. Patrolling forward. Feels like some demos are needed for FreakinAndy. And Demo is coming out there right where the fires are. But might be a little bit late. Demos kind of need companions. And this TC that FreakinAndy's adding would be rangeable from the water. But since TaToH's not adding any more War Galleys, isn't really a concern. Fires from TaToH trying to hide behind the dock. FreakinAndy's having none of it. Brings the weak fire back. And it looks like both players are just going to sit back. TaToH even sending a villager over there to repair. We have a spearman going over and trying to be a nuisance, mainly just scouting though. Could kill those deer, I guess. But just going down. Fires coming into FreakinAndy's fishing economy. War Galleys being pulled back in defense. And yeah, very good cleanup there from FreakinAndy. Keeping it safe. Going for the counterattack on the other side. Demo... Oh, those are all friendly ships. Hard to tell sometimes. The ships don't have as many colors, especially these fire ships. Like the orange fire ships. Do they have any orange? Maybe a little bit on the bottom of the hull. But the blue stands out a lot more. On the demo, I should say. On the fires, it's just those little tiny rinky-dink flags that are somehow supposed to propel these ships. FreakinAndy wrapping around with a fire really sneakily and looking for some fishing ship kills. Forced to come back as well since he wasn't defending this pathway. Actually losing a dock as well. But still trying to snipe the fish that TaToH has moved over to this bottom hand side. I don't think there's any careening yet in for TaToH. Let's see, careening, or I guess it's careening then dry dock, which would give him an extra pierce armor on his fires. But obviously his economy is at the limit. using every bit of his economy as much as possible. And also thinking about War Galley again now. Maybe he saw this town center, he's thought, hey, that's rangeable. Or maybe he's thinking, oh, hey, all these wood lines, probably rangeable as well. I seem to be getting water control. I can go for War Galleys and put a bit of pressure onto FreakinAndy's location as well. TaToH also getting a castle up in the middle, producing some karambits. Maybe trying to do some damage with them. FreakinAndy, on the other hand, monastery now and a siege workshop, though I don't think he has really much vision in the middle. Most of his vision came a lot earlier. Yeah, he doesn't see any of what TaToH has planned in the middle. Mainly just focusing on getting his macro rolling and trying to take good fights, though he hasn't really done that, it seems like. I mean, the KD's fairly close now. Nice demo. Fire there to clean up the mess. And now FreakinAndy pulling some water buffalo, sending the villager out to build outpost. But the constant attention to these war galleys, I think, has also limited how much FreakinAndy can spend focusing on the middle. War galleys take a lot of attention. These fires did get cleaned up eventually by TaToH, or by FreakinAndy. TaToH's fires that were going around his base. And the karambits get transported over. That is something I missed. FreakinAndy has nothing here to deal with the karambits. And this is where so much of his economy is. I love this. This is what TaToH is known for. The creativity on migration. That might just be my thumbnail right there. TaToH thinking about the trap. But he pulled... Oh, he gets it just in time. Just needs one more gate. And there we go. Karambits are trapped. Maybe a monk here. But behind this, war galleys all go down to the fires. TaToH in a commanding lead now. Karambits even picking off villagers. New castle being built in the middle of the map. TaToH knows I just need to get to Imp, and I should have this game. So many attack notifications now. It's like they've realized, oh wait, we should be fighting on land as well. TaToH obviously the one doing it first. And this villager might not escape. Nope, looks like she's stuck here. One converted karambit can't really stop this castle either. The siege is a mix of scorpions and mangonels, but a lot of idle villagers for FreakinAndy. He's going to try to get up to Imp, and he actually clicks at a similar time, but TaToH is going to get there twice as quickly. Karambit's still here being a nuisance. Might actually take out FreakinAndy's market, which he definitely is going to need. FreakinAndy still has 4 fishing ships alive versus the 8 from TaToH. Was that another karambit converted? Hard to tell. But karambits pull it back into the castle range. And karambits are a complete counter, I would say, to the siege monk play. Getting a karambit converted, you're like, yeah, whatever, sure. And your siege having to deal with all those karambits is very, very rough. Really? You think you get this castle up? This is kind of desperation play by FreakinAndy. Hoping to get this castle up on this hill. He's going to need some serious house walls very, very quickly. Quick walls are not in. And that's just going to be feasting for the karambits. Might try to take some out with the mangonel. Only gets the water buffalo. Mangonel might get some repairs. Nope, goes down. Imp comes in. FreakinAndy calls it GG. I don't really know what went wrong there for FreakinAndy. I would say traditionally Dravidians are the better pick. I think maybe that early feudal play approach didn't really pay off, and I haven't really seen it pay off. TaToH knew to look for it when he had his galleys come out. Maybe it's just a little bit unfortunate that TaToH also went for some sort of feudal pressure with those galleys. I'd also say just going into additional war galleys wasn't paying off, and it's just there's too much to micro. Even when you're on opposite sides of the land, you know, you spend a few seconds looking at ships here, you spend a few seconds looking at ships over here, go back, retask some villagers to rebalance your economy, get an upgrade or two, then back to looking at ships, and yeah, you never, it takes so much time. Versus fires, you just send them forward and they're fine. That is another win for TaToH. He's looking very commanding so far in the set, which makes sense as the #1 seed in this qualifier. They have not started the next set yet. FreakinAndy will have a moment to recompose himself, decide if he wants to go for one of his other home maps or pick one of TaToH's. His Golden Stream and Fractal yet left. Very interested in seeing both of those maps. Golden Stream, I'm assuming he's going to pick Armenians. And I think TaToH would pick Persians there. Or do we have Persians banned out? Oh no, very chunky elephant. I see it. FreakinAndy has it. And then, yeah, I don't know what the pick would be for TaToH. Maybe Lith. Or maybe just ignore water and go Georgians. What we saw on Golden Stream in the past was... What? Let me double check what the last tournament was with Golden Stream. Oh, Red Bull Willow Legacy, right. So obviously Empire Wars, a little bit different. But I'll touch on that again later because the next set is not on Golden Stream, but instead on Fractal. Gamer number 3, TaToH playing as the Teutons. FreakinAndy playing as the Bohemians. Bohemians obviously want to get up to some sort of castle drop shenanigans or some monk play, and Teutons are just going to resist all that, resist the conversion. I don't think we've seen a 9 villager start on Fractal yet. I might be wrong, but Fractal is a fairly new map. And so you have extra villagers you can send out to this wood line to try to cut through, build a dock. You can build a dock here and dock block. With Fractal, it's a mirrored map, so you can have the same setup on both sides for both players. And yeah, so far it's just been a smooth start. Players pushing in their zebra, taking in their elephant. Because it's a little bit... Both players are fairly close to each other. Sometimes you do have some laming potential, and that's why FreakinAndy is keeping his scout here. Checking for any villagers coming forward. But now, just taking the elephant in. A villager... Okay, I'm afraid that villager was going to take one of these water buffalo and start the rotting process, but no. No need for concern there, taking the elephant without any mishap. And yeah, TaToH not worrying too much about the rot under his TC either. And actually isn't cutting through in the typical fashion, what we see here, but instead cutting through right here. A little bit less walking time, I guess. And also maybe a little bit easier to protect your villagers, because FreakinAndy is looking for the typical spot there and not seeing anything. He's thinking, okay, something is up. Something is very different. Is he coming forward to lame my villagers? He's going over here, and I think you'll notice in just a moment what TaToH had planned. Oh, doesn't actually see it. Interesting. Yeah, we'll see which one is through first. FreakinAndy actually not shift queuing as smoothly. Sometimes villagers don't or get bumped up against each other. And TaToH actually pushing away the zebra for FreakinAndy. So I guess sometimes I said we do see some laming. That's not really laming in the traditional sense, but could be a cause of an issue. And yeah, FreakinAndy moving on to the water buffalo instead. Yeah, FreakinAndy didn't shift queue at all here. I would say that's a major issue. Going for the scout fight instead. TaToH looks like he'll be the first one to the water. And he's going for what looks like it'll be feudal pressure. Has sent quite a few villagers off to wood. But also one on stone. I don't know if that was intentional. Players do have gold and stone both at the front of their base and in the back. And TaToH bringing FreakinAndy back to his town center. FreakinAndy moves away and goes for the big wall. I would say the wood line is the more at-risk place in the early game. If you get pushed off berries, not the worst thing. Get pushed off gold and stone, also not the worst thing because you have more gold and stone in the back of your base. But I think this early pressure for TaToH might just be for map control, or it might be to prevent FreakinAndy to get to a dock spot. And because FreakinAndy wasn't shift queuing as well as he could, might make it very difficult. FreakinAndy sees the scout there and decides to open his walls. FreakinAndy's gonna try to scout what was going on here with TaToH's scout. He sees it again. He sees the villagers now. He sees the villagers walling him in. He can imagine there's a tower just around the corner from the Teuton player. He goes for the fight. He has the villagers here. But Scout doesn't have the strength it needs right now. And FreakinAndy's going to try to batter down that one palisade wall. These villagers are very much at risk. FreakinAndy does confirm that there is a tower here. Villager immediately goes down. The villager doesn't even have loom. Disaster. FreakinAndy does get through. Villagers come here to try to deal with the scout. Scout's just going to block them. Prevent the villager from running away from the tower. I think that's another dead vill, unless he gets the wall off. Is that Stonewall? Using Stonewall, interesting enough. I guess FreakinAndy was also on stone. Might have long distance collected some, but losing 3 villagers plus the scout that early, not ideal. TaToH also through and building a dock now. And FreakinAndy sending all these villagers back here because he has nothing else to do with them. He's actually has blocked these villagers in. They have no job. They have no job. I think maybe you send them all the way around this corner so they can at least build a lumber camp again. But they are stuck. What an interesting way to start this match by TaToH. I like the Tootin pick, and he's going to wall in this villager even. FreakinAndy just doesn't have resources for much of anything. Villagers just bumping up against each other, trying to drop off a little bit of food. Or drop off a little bit of wood. I guess they do still have a job. It's not the ideal job. Here, drop off some wood while dodging projectiles. More Tootin towers coming forward. Behind this, TaToH's eco isn't, like, superb either. Actually has a zebra that somehow wandered over here. Usually it's in the back here, but I guess won't be the biggest deal for TaToH as he gets out his first fishing ship. And villagers are trying to batter down these stone walls. FreakinAndy does not have the wood now that he's building the mining camp here. Does not have the wood for a counter tower. So it'll just be walls behind if he wants to stop the continual tower creep. Oh, TaToH's... Oh, I like this from FreakinAndy. Go forward with these vills and try to attack TaToH's fish, because he must assume that's where TaToH's eco is going to be coming from in this kind of situation. We have a blacksmith here that might last long enough for FreakinAndy to get his tower up, and he's very smartly put his tower outside of the range of the original tower. TaToH's like, dude, I got the stone, I got the wood, I'll just make a new one. We are going to tower fight. You don't have a choice in the matter. And this is why people hated Koreans back in the day. Teutons are the new Koreans. Villagers Garrison, you can't beat Teutons when they can fit 10 villagers in, and you can only fit 5. Is that going to be another dead villager? At the moment, no. Villagers moving on to the zebra. Anything they can do. But yeah, this tower fight not looking good for FreakinAndy. TaToH now getting double bit. Wasn't too much of a concern for him before. And villagers are forward, but yeah, TaToH can even afford the fire. All the fish, I think that's game. I think FreakinAndy sees this fire, knows I can't build a fire in return. This is like the only eco I have safe. He's gonna go for the repairs. Only has 25 stone. Has to send the villagers back in as well. What a strat here from TaToH. What a strategy. I think FreakinAndy might want to wall this in now while he still has a chance. Force TaToH into another tower so that he can maintain his wood line and doesn't have more towers on his wood line. Has he noticed the fire? The fire has 2 kills on both those villagers that were forward, but FreakinAndy might not have noticed that. FreakinAndy still has some food coming in from the fishing ships, and he sees the new tower. He is going to try to get a blacksmith up. Can potentially afford fletching, but it's a decision between fletching and a fire ship. And TaToH's saying fire ship is the way to go. Blacksmith does go up. Some villagers will still be able to chop wood on the backside of this lumber camp. There's also no villagers under the town center, so TaToH could just run around. He does have enough for another tower. He could just run around and just build another tower. The risk is he could get his villagers trapped in here. And giving his current map control, he probably feels that's unnecessary. FreakinAndy will win this fight if TaToH doesn't realize. FreakinAndy... Okay, that was just a drop-off. Fire... Okay, will go down. FreakinAndy has the potential to win this if he blocks with a fishing ship, but instead, no. He's going to lose this fish, and he goes for the Vil fight and calls the GG. TaToH will now be on game point for a sweep. What a strat. I don't know if FreakinAndy was expecting that at all. But TaToH shows that he can clown just as hard. What was the KD? 10-2. Wow. What was the kills actually? Was that the scout? No, it was all. It was a scout. What else did TaToH? Oh, the fire, right? Only killed the scout in the fire. Did not kill a single one of TaToH's villagers. And TaToH did run around as well. So sneaky. Well played, TaToH. Can FreakinAndy get a reverse sweep when he's already played what arguably are his best maps, some of his home maps? Probably will just play Golden Stream next and play Armenians and hope Armenians are good enough. But as I was saying earlier before we jumped into game number 3, yeah, it looks like it will be Golden Stream. They're in lobby with Golden Stream right now. On Golden Stream, we've seen when you don't have Armenians, or I guess we've seen this from Viper in Red Bull Low, which is, you know, slightly different than a 9 villager start. He would just not fight water. He would go across the shallows to his opponent's side of the map and build buildings there and push from a different angle. And it worked once, and it didn't work once. I mean, once the strat's exposed, it's less effective. But maybe we'll see that again today. It's been a while, of course, since that last, since Red Bull. Maybe not as long as some viewers would prefer to not have these big tournaments back to back like this, but for the rest of us, we enjoy the new content. And we do see Armenians and TaToH going for Vikings as the counter pick. I forget of Vikings as a water civ, just because they don't get fires. We haven't seen them much on migration. But we have a minute and a half of Spectator, and we will be into game number 4 and see if TaToH can clinch the win. Clench the win? Clinch the win. I'm not sure how that English works. We are into game number 4. TaToH in the blue with the Vikings. FreakinAndy in the orange with the Armenians. Both players bringing in their elephant at exactly the same time. Armenians with the mule cart. Slightly cheaper. No, it's normal price. Never mind. I'm thinking Georgians. So yeah, both players should be out ready to dock at around the same time. TaToH building a house first. What we saw in Empire Wars, because both players are at a more advanced state in the game, is that players would go for a scout mirror at the start. They weren't really fighting for water. I'm curious what FreakinAndy has planned here. He had the dock set up, but he doesn't want to show it. Okay, he's going for it now. Maybe he realized he needed a house first. No, wait. Maybe, I don't know. Unclear. Taking the scout fight. Will the villager be there in time? Okay, she's there to at least even it up. Make sure that things work out fairly for both players. And TaToH can assume that there's a villager forward to build a dock. As he's doing the same. So it looks like we're going to have some sort of water fight. And I'm thinking it'll be galleys. Which is funny given how little water is actually on this map. But it is. Galleys are a fast unit. Maybe the strongest unit in Feudal Age. They're just kind of limited to what terrains they can be placed on. Okay. TaToH going for fishing ships as well as FreakinAndy. Continuing to harvest the food from the elephant. And I'm guessing it'll be galleys for both players. You know, now come down to uptimes. FreakinAndy went forward very quickly and didn't actually scout these 2 other sheep he has here. Obviously, plenty of food from the shorefish at the moment. But if he ever gets pushed off there, he might have wished he saw those 2 sheep that he's now walling off of his base. So yeah, his scouting very limited. TaToH's scouting a little bit better, I guess, because he set this sheep all the way around to spot out any of the blind areas, the dark zones. Looks like TaToH will be the first one up. Getting Loom now, and will have wheelbarrow for free as Vikings once he gets to the feudal age. Meanwhile, FreakinAndy will be able to get additional bonuses from his double bit. He's sending a fishing ship forward now just to confirm that TaToH is also going to be docking and fighting for water. He's going the long way. He's checking every single shoreline along the way. FreakinAndy doesn't have to commit 2 galleys. He could go fire galleys. But I think the Armenian bonus warrants going for galleys. And there we go. He confirms that there is a dock there, and he just sees 1 for the moment. TaToH behind actually going for barracks. So maybe going for some land play after all. Rest collected neck and neck, despite FreakinAndy getting up a little bit later because he invested in 3 fishing ships instead of just the 1 from TaToH. Tatinho. Yeah, TaToH not on gold at all, building a mill instead. And so, yeah, looks like it'll be some sort of land play. I'm curious to see how this works out. I prefer, given this option, to play water when I have a hybrid map. I think it's just... What is this villager pathing? She went all the way around the dock to get to the storefish. Oh, I guess she has to be on this little tile of land. That makes sense. There's no passage right here. When I see a hybrid map, because I don't play water that often, I prefer to just be able to play water, like if it comes up in Mega Random or something like that. But I understand that it's not often the right play. Usually just ignore water or just use it to get a little bit better economy in Dark Age, and you move on to land pressure. And yeah, FreakinAndy just now getting loom, which is pretty late. And trying to pop out 2 galleys. We have a demo for TaToH, which is what he's known for. Demo coming forward, maybe trying to find something that the the spearman can spot. Fishing ship going back. 2 villagers. Bada boom! Very well used demo there. No villagers in the middle now to respond to try to repair any of these fishing ships. The spearman could batter down those fishing ships. And we also have scouts now. Okay, we do have 1 more villager in the middle, trying to wall herself in from the scout pressure. But it feels like these galleys are just in chase mode. They're not doing too much. Fishing ship even going down to a spear. More galleys being produced, but behind this, full walls from FreakinAndy. And a blacksmith. Okay. Still didn't find those 2 sheep. Villagers are being tasked in random directions. Clearly, FreakinAndy wasn't expecting that. And did clear the spear up that was forward from TaToH. Not looking good for his Eco KD though. Having lost all of his fishing ships, or all but 1 of his fishing ships, plus 2 villagers. FreakinAndy making a fire as well. I think the scouts can just run through here, right? Or run around. Ooh, this is sneaky from TaToH. He's coming around, I think, to make another dock over on the side. Or at least have a sneaky villager over here. Might actually get caught out. That's crazy. Given all the sneakiness that TaToH went through, it seems like FreakinAndy might find this villager. Yep, does find it. Comes right up along it. Doesn't have fletching though, so I think the villager gets out safely. But FreakinAndy knows TaToH's up to something. He was definitely noticing that. And beyond this, FreakinAndy building more fishing ships, using the extra food they're going to bring in to hopefully get to Castle Age a little bit faster. Of course, TaToH's economy already off to a great start with the free wheelbarrow. And he feels like he has pretty good map control, at least on land. Villager going at it again. Gallia again coming over, trying to patrol, prevent the villager from coming across the shallows. Look at the sneak. I think the timing might just work out for TaToH, because the galley does have quite a while to patrol. This really feels like we're looking at a 90s game where you just have no vision. You don't know when the enemy is coming across. You have to time it perfectly. If you had the scout there... Oh, we have a villager on the other side as well. 1 of 2 villagers got it across, and TaToH's like, okay, that's good enough for me. I'll come back and wall. We'll send the full HP villager forward instead. Scouts continue to hammer at the walls. Armenians could, theoretically, get pikemen in feudal age, but obviously not relevant to the game state. Both players using the market extensively, try to get those best prices as soon as possible. Get up to Castle Age as soon as possible. And it seems like it's just going to be a boom game. Try to fast forward a little bit. Just make sure we're at live time. Boom game slightly favors Armenians, I want to say. Just in terms of the booming process. But I also think that late game, I prefer Vikings. There neither are civs that excel on land. On land in Imperial Age. But they both have solid navies. So yeah, TaToH ending up be the first one to click up to Castle Age. I also think that the Armenians in Castle Age with the fortified church can do a pretty good job of collecting on those relics. I'll be surprised if TaToH adds a range, but he might add a range in late castle. Just to try to contest the Armenian monks. Scouts can't really do the trick. And TaToH finding the sheep. And just probably going to use them to scout. And he has wonderful scouting, which I think is why he has the score lead. Meanwhile, villager over here just building houses for the moment, but I'm guessing it'll be siege come Castle Age. Scout trying to find value any way it can. I think that was the weak fishing ship from earlier. Oh no, that was a different fishing ship. The shorefish don't provide nearly as much food as the deep fish, so it's not like TaToH's throwing by not contesting water. I do like that aspect of the map. I think this is a Krazini map, but I might be wrong. Because I believe it first showed up in Empire Wars, and it's one of those Empire Wars maps that made it into the vanilla game. You don't need a mod to play Golden Stream. You just need to find it in the map list. So TaToH is up and stable. Are we playing knights? We're playing light cav. That's wild. Doesn't quite have the wood for a siege workshop, but sending the villager for it anyways. And yeah, just going for... Oh, didn't remember a blacksmith. I see. He went stable and market? Where's his market? Am I blind? Oh, his market's all the way back there. Okay. It was stable market to get his 2 buildings to go up. FreakinAndy, meanwhile, building another town center over here. Could have found those sheep if he was a little bit sooner out here. TaToH has hit him over here. And FreakinAndy doing a good job making sure the town center goes up without an issue. Siege workshop on the opposite side of his base, so... might be pushed off this gold. Also has a fortified church in the middle. And a villager building a town center in the middle. So we'll have some sort of map presence with land units. Once those warrior priests come out. One in the queue right now. Getting wheelbarrow so we can be equal on eco upgrades with TaToH. Though he doesn't have horse collar yet. Barracks at home. Okay. I'm guessing that's for spears. Potentially also for... what's it called? Not tracking. Squires. Does... Oh my goodness. That reaction time for FreakinAndy. Mangonel does not get that blind hit. That one-tap hit. Villagers dropping resources off. And fortified church in response to the Mangonel. We'll need some micro. But it gets built so quickly. And the Mangonel will want to find another point of attack. I don't know if villagers can sit here, though, and continue to collect gold. Even though wood seems a little bit dangerous. So yeah, he's just leaving a few there to collect. And the other villagers are being retasked elsewhere. Town center in the middle. Still not complete since it's just being built with 1 villager. Scouts are in. FreakinAndy tries to block with the village, or with the gate, but the mule cart gets in the way. Scouts are in. We have only one, or not just scouts, light cavalry are in. Mangonel is in as well. And the Mangonels also outrange the church. Ooh, I like this. FreakinAndy getting a house up just to kind of limit the position of the units, but yeah, it's short-lived. It just doesn't have any units in response here. I think maybe if he can wall off some more of this area, he can build up siege of his own. But if he just tries to build siege in this situation, I think the scouts will just come in and snipe it. So it's looking very good so far for TaToH, just completely ignoring the middle water aspect. He sees the spears now. Spears have very few upgrades on them. Have to roll back to the town center. I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. Redemption being the play for FreakinAndy. Using the monks. Killed a monk and the forward villager. Very worth. Very, very worth getting that tech. And now the siege just has to sit back. And the villagers are back to work. A lot of scouts dying as well to the spear fight. And behind this, similar eco numbers for both players. 45 to 46 villagers. These fishing ships still have some short fish to use. And the military in the middle just hasn't been that useful for FreakinAndy. Still these 2 sheep down here. More monks trying to get conversions on siege or knights or whatever they can get conversions on. And TaToH's just trying to hold these hills. Create some issues. Did get the conversion that he, I guess, built up. And I did not know that Vikings get atonement. That is hilarious. That we're going to see a Viking monk push. Did that monk really succeed there? Wow. And Mangonel gets the uphill hit because that repair villager isn't there. Normally you would take 2 hits to get that uphill hit. Or to kill a Mangonel uphill. Yeah, FreakinAndy's holds here has been really, really nice. He just has had 3.5 minutes of idle TC time behind this. TaToH now building his 3rd TC out on the side. And, you know, Viking Eco, it builds itself, right? Free handcart. Just so solid. Monks continuously having to be pulled back and forth. Trying to start conversions. And now he sees atonement is in. He could assume that it's actually the villager being converted, but I think FreakinAndy has been in enough monk fights that he knows, okay, this might actually be monks converting my monks. I can't allow that. FreakinAndy doesn't really have the gold or extra resources to deal with that. Just kind of sitting back. Getting a tournament for himself now. There we go. Just had to sell some food and some wood for the extra gold. Getting squires for his infantry. We have 2 spearmen there by the town center. We'll try to keep the scouts from getting too close. Neither player necessarily known for their monk, and I guess monk micro FreakinAndy is known for, but Mangonel micro maybe not so. Mangonel gets pulled out of the way. Scouts try to get the monk before he jumps in the town center, but not the case. And yeah, FreakinAndy getting all of the monk techs. Actually, both players getting devotion now. And TaToH getting some armor for his cavalry so he can jump under the town center to try to get some of those monk snipes. Meanwhile, FreakinAndy moved most of his villagers over so he can continue working with them on 4 TCs for both players. I think the monk gets the conversion on the Mangonel. It gets deleted right after the shot is out. Almost like one of those shots where you're trying to get an uphill hit but not have the uphill reduction in damage. And TaToH realizes he's trapped here, in with the spears, in with the monks. And he's going to take some hits, I guess. There's a monk there. I think that's just a bait. He's going to try to wrap around on these monks. FreakinAndy might be focusing on another part of his economy right now. Losing 2 monks for free. They could just sat... No, don't tell me you lose 3. FreakinAndy drop? What is this? I guess he's focusing on the front with the converted knight he has. And expanding his eco now that he thought it was over, but he thought a little bit too early. Now housed as well. I guess maybe he's okay letting those monks go down. Behind this, neck and neck in terms of resources collected. But I do, again, prefer the Vikings late game. I would say fairly similar late game. They both have upgrades to their infantry. With the Vikings, free additional HP, and then the Armenians can get Feriders to give extra HP to the militia line. And FreakinAndy using all that stone he collected to build a castle in the middle, where all that gold is. TaToH just building it on the outside. TaToH also getting fletching now. I'm not sure what's the idea behind that. And FreakinAndy a little bit ahead in terms of build numbers. But now it looks like he's going to be idling so he can get up. Does he see the castle? I assume he does with the monk. Yeah. Sees the castle, sees those new docks being built up. Has the monk over here converting the siege workshop, but the scorpion that was built is able to take out the monk. You can't switch conversions like you used to be able to. Charge them up on a building, switch it up on a unit. Whoa! The thought process on this is pretty impressive here. FreakinAndy walling up the water to limit how much mobility these, what are they called? These longboats can do. Monk taking a really weird path to convert those longboats. Does dodge the castle fire a little bit. It's just, there's a hole right here with the fishing ship. Theoretically, the castle can take out the longboat before it slips through, but they are very slippery units. Imp and War Galley coming in for FreakinAndy, and TaToH's just getting the Imp tech. And TaToH's like, oh, my opponent is walling me in, but maybe I'll just build docks on the outside if you can get the opportunity to do so. Yeah, War Galleys are just stuck under the castle fire now. Nowhere to run except for outside the area. TaToH, or FreakinAndy has walled them in. Monks can also sit outside of range and try to convert the War Galleys. What is the range of the War Galley? Or sorry, I keep saying War Galley, longboat. Not far enough. Conversion comes through, and it feels like TaToH needs to find a way to get back onto this outer island, or this other side of the land, with villagers. Get some more units over there. War Galley sees the new castle going up, though I don't know if FreakinAndy recognizes that. And more chaos caused by these light calves. I'm favoring FreakinAndy's position here. I'm not going to say this is ready for a reverse sweep. Not that bold, but TaToH might be running out of gold soon. What does he have left? He has quite a few tiles here. What is that? 2,000 gold still, yeah. And over here, still quite a bit. Another 2,000. FreakinAndy still just on the one castle. Neither player getting bombard cannons. Though we do have Dromans, which is indeed what's coming in here for FreakinAndy. And he did clear up this hole here. Where... I'm clicking Droman. There we go. So just those two original docks he built in the middle. And he's building another dock over here because he saw that there was a castle going up there. So many docks being built by TaToH. He knows he needs water control in some regard for his strategy to work. You can't just give up all the gold and try to go for a rush strat. Vikings just aren't that fast, I guess, for rushing. And TaToH also got the War Galley tech. Interesting. Trebs start firing on the first castle TaToH built. Longboats coming out. Droman is trying to come for the castle. Runs away immediately. War Galley should be able to deal with this for now. Especially with the extra damage that the Armenian War Galley can do. With that extra little arrow it has. But yeah, can't run under the castle either. Just Trebs coming out of this main castle for now for FreakinAndy. Getting chemistry as well. I don't know what he built up there for a second, but going for the mill instead. And two Dromans start firing on this castle. It's tricky against Armenians trying to play water and late game. And, okay, this is what I was thinking. TaToH needs another point of attack. He's wrapping around the right side to build another castle on that original place he was fighting. And now FreakinAndy giving himself an opportunity here. What is over here? Oh, just some walls. Guessing that was a villager that was escaping. I'm not sure what those walls are for. What are the texts? Oh, TaToH getting supplies. So he's definitely thinking the infantry. And behind this, no real outpost yet for FreakinAndy. He did get his sheep back. Okay, he has some outposts on the left side, but not this side that TaToH was originally pushing from. And so far, FreakinAndy's just focusing on technologies for his navy. Engaged in this castle battle over here. Where's... Oh, the monk sees the barracks coming up. So he knows there's an additional push. He might not see the castle yet, though. We'll see it once the castle starts firing on his buildings here. No castles at home for FreakinAndy to deal with it. War Galleys come in to deal And we have demos. That is why TaToH invested into War Galley earlier. He knew that demos might be at play and does a very good job. We have 8 longboats stacked up right there. I mentioned how longboats can just be so slippery. They just stack right on top of each other. Indeed, castle firing on the market for FreakinAndy. FreakinAndy's response: get Feriders immediately, get Man-at-Arms, get Theocracy for his monks, Illumination. He's thinking this is going to be a monk play. And what are these walls for? That's curious. That's very curious. Definitely feels like an upbuild battle for TaToH. Maybe would want this to have been a little bit sneakier, but he only has... I guess he's queuing up all the Man-at-Arms, long swords, two-handed swordsmen now. And meanwhile, oh, the Dromans are getting a little bit too close. Trying to convert the demos before they explode, but it's just not that simple. Limited space here to get the ships in. Demos are actually getting really nice finds. But now the monks are just going to convert the docks. Definitely not something I see very often. Demo thinking about the monk. Thinking about the monk. Not sure. Goes for the War Galley. More longboats here to stop the monks from getting conversion. I think this monk behind might still get conversion. You can see how much health these monks have. It's kind of crazy. TaToH calls the GG. FreakinAndy avoids the sweep. Yeah, I think TaToH needed to come out earlier and not try to fight water. I don't think you have opportunity, but we haven't really seen that matchup, right? Armenians have only been out for a year. So it's interesting to see for the first time how they do. Could also go for some sort of militia approach. We've seen that before. In one of the first tournaments to really showcase Coast to Mountain was Nilly's Apartment Cup. Or was it Hippo Clash? I can't remember which of the two it was. Which of Nilly's tournaments it was. But we saw in a Coast to Mountain that there was a rule set up that you couldn't build any barracks, stables, or archery ranges before your town center was completed. And I think that was to prevent too much laming with those extra resources that Persians have. So we have sheep around scouting, a villager from the Georgians, from TaToH, coming out to dock, and we also have a scout from FreakinAndy and a villager coming out to check for that dock from his opponent. And how much does our Persian player have in the bank? Already 100 wood in the bank. Does have some stragglers around here. Both players just building their town centers in the central area. Yeah. Rhino goes down without a problem. And both players actually walling in, or TaToH walling in his villager immediately. I guess just to avoid the Vil fighting. Because he saw that his villager got scouted. I just love the Georgian voice line so much. Okay, and yeah, FreakinAndy sees that it's walled in. There's no point in trying to Vil fight. They can both take the shore fish at their own pace. FreakinAndy getting out the fishing ship immediately with that Persian bonus, that extra wood that they start off with. And also going out to build a little lumber camp. So yeah, a little bit ahead in the early game, but it really comes down to the late game. Also, Georgian's starting with a free mule cart, right? So the mule cart's up here, scouting around, and gives good access to more wood economy to build more fishing ships as well. Looks like TaToH just took enough to build one fishing ship for now, and is just going to be keeping the villagers under the town center to take in the more hunts. Both players start with 4 rhinos around their town center. I think it's typically 4. This one seems a little bit far away. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, and I think 4, yeah. And then, of course, these 4 packs of 4 ostriches as well. Didn't quite get that rhino under the town center because pathing. But so far, so good for FreakinAndy. Actually, TaToH, surprising me. Where did he get the wood for the second fishing ship? Maybe he had already had it queued, and I just didn't notice. That's funny that our Georgian player is actually getting out the fishing ships faster than the Persian player. At least the second one. And already up to feudal age behind that as well. That is a crazy build order. Absolutely nuts that you get 2 fishing ships out and you get up to feudal age at 17 villagers. Behind this, FreakinAndy's starting a very small wall with one house. And trying to scout. Actually stole a sheep. Will he see that these Georgian villagers are coming forward? You're like trying to hunt down this sheep. Sometimes players go for ranges at home. And it's just too long an attack distance. A rush distance. You really need to build production for it, it feels like. Is TaToH going to go for towers again? Georgians obviously don't have as strong of towers, but you do get a faster uptime by one villager. And the sheep did get converted, so we'll see if FreakinAndy noticed something about that. Sees he's being scouted. FreakinAndy actually going for the second lumber camp. And a very forward barracks here for TaToH. FreakinAndy, meanwhile, I guess mainly focusing on the water. Building a second dock, very close to his original dock. Not, you know, ideal. Fishing ships have also gone to the shore fish because he hasn't scouted for that deep fish. So not the smoothest build order here. TaToH doesn't really have wood for many other resources. And he is moving the ostriches away, out of the way. So that if FreakinAndy is noticing, he might realize there's some units here. And here we have the range. Okay. Spearman going to scout. Villager sees the ostriches moving, but might not think anything about that. And the spear is just sitting right next to the camel. That's very funny. FreakinAndy's like, what is TaToH doing? What is this guy up to? He's only built one dock. He's just building a house at home? This doesn't make sense. And now he sees the spears coming forward. Doesn't see the range yet. May see the villagers. I'm guessing the villagers are going to try to wall in? Or are they going to try to vill fight? They are vill fighting. And FreakinAndy doesn't have loom yet. Campbell's there to block. We have skirms. We have spears. We have a completely new strategy for our Georgian player. Not bothering with the scouts. Going for this new approach. FreakinAndy going for a tower in defense. So much blocking though. And there's no one under the town center. So these villagers don't have any rescue until they actually get under the TC. FreakinAndy may be able to stop this aggression. This fire hasn't even... Or no, I think the fires have kills on them, right? Yeah, 2 kills. So they killed the 2 fishing ships from TaToH. And TaToH's aggression might actually come to an end very, very quickly here. Because FreakinAndy is walling behind. This is somewhat of a closed map here up in this mountain area. But he will prevent FreakinAndy from really collecting many more resources, at least the hunt. He can just take that all out with skirms and spears. FreakinAndy will have to rely on the fishing ships and the fish instead. Behind this, TaToH is collecting hunt with himself, and the mule cart just makes it so easy. You just move it around to each pack as you need. And yeah, mule cart here on the gold being added as well. Still has a rhino he can take later. So plenty of food. Doesn't have to completely rely on that fish. And you can see the skirms starting to take out the ostriches on FreakinAndy's side of the map. Villagers dying to the tower unnecessarily really shows that this is, you know, a later later game in the set. Players making more and more mistakes. I would say TaToH is the more experienced player, has more experience in these tournament sets, and, you know, staying alert during the whole process. But TaToH just is definitely seems to be lacking in food right now. I guess, you know, villagers are dropping off. They're not always super active. He's building a mill now because he needs a mill to be able to make farms, to use that wood that he has banked. And FreakinAndy forced into another house behind. Looks like that villager will get away, and the spears continuing to batter at the house. I think it only can fit 3 spears behind there at the moment. And FreakinAndy does have stone back here as well. So he can replenish the stone he uses on that tower. And any more stone walls he might need. But yeah, definitely needs to be continually queuing fishing ships. Already has 10 out on the map. Dock placement, not dog, sorry. Dock placement isn't ideal. But FreakinAndy's continually scouting to make sure that none of these sneak villagers comes over here and builds a new dock because he needs that food. He's buying more stone, presumably for another tower. Yeah, just to prevent these spears or any archers that are in the tower from causing any additional damage. TaToH doesn't, I guess, have a use for those villagers at the moment. They could always make a mule cart, start collecting some wood. And once it's no longer safe, they could all run home. Collect some of this gold as well. Looks like that's indeed the case. What's up, Shiva? Oh, Skirm's actually found a villager, the dock villager. And TaToH's gonna micro that. He's getting fletching now. It is patrol micro, so for whatever reason, they started attacking the house. Skirms have started attacking a house. But yeah, TaToH's continually just moving out, collecting more and more res. Surprised he started taking stone now. Oh, I guess he needs stone for additional towers if he wants to continue this push. Takes out another villager. Seems really unnecessary here. 2 more villagers. 3. FreakinAndy, man. What's going on, bud? It's so unnecessary. And he's clicked up to Castle Age. He's going to need to do some serious damage. I realize TaToH's definitely behind to Castle Age, but losing that many villagers for free, so unnecessary. Behind this, fires are patrolling, and they see the villager that TaToH had brought over here to try to deny some of this fish being taken. I mean, TaToH must see the score and be like, okay, I don't know if I did enough damage. Gonna add another tower here. FreakinAndy is currently limited to where he can take gold. We have a spear here from TaToH watching the golds in the south of the map. You can really tell that TaToH understands this map. He has a good feel for it. And I don't know if his strategy... This might be a strategy that he's testing out given his position in the tournament. But he's very, very likely to move through here given the current score line. Yeah, more skirms and spears just moving around. Trying to identify what FreakinAndy might be doing following this tower rush. I imagine FreakinAndy's going to go for siege behind, maybe a town center up here. But he's also making a barracks at home. Maybe a stable. Sending 1 villager forward. Oh. TaToH managed to sneak in with the villager, and these fires aren't being focused on. TaToH now getting up to the next stage, and now we have fires trying to get on either side of the dock so that they can hit this villager, but you can see the villager taking very little damage until she's forced away, and TaToH is going to build some walls, and suddenly the fires can't reach the villager anymore. Yeah, no galley being set up for FreakinAndy. FreakinAndy adding a stable in the middle of the map, interestingly enough. Doesn't want to be limited to his base. More fires being brought over. And a siege workshop at home as well for FreakinAndy. On the high ground, which is very important on the map here. In this mountainous area. More fires being queued as well for FreakinAndy just to make sure. I mean, this is all of his food eco at the moment, right? Except for this one farm, I guess. So he needs to make sure that this stays alive. I think the Persian bonus against archers also applies to spears. For the knights, that is. And so we see FreakinAndy bringing his villagers away now that the mangonel is up and firing at his towers. Yeah, repair villager coming in for FreakinAndy. Make sure this mangonel successfully takes out the tower. We're getting repairs. Oh, FreakinAndy kind of forgot. Okay, no. He's paying attention. A lot of things going on so early in this map. Usually this is a boom fest. And Spear will notice that there is a town center being set up here for FreakinAndy. Spear goes into action. Very slowly goes into action, causing some havoc, but very limited pokes. Is TaToH going to go for the demo? Or is he just happy, like, to cause some sort of reaction from FreakinAndy to further invest in the water? TaToH adding Siege Workshop immediately right next to this this town center. I'm glad FreakinAndy sent enough villagers to get this up. But very good job from TaToH to notice the villager, or notice that this was going up. Having the villagers, or having the spear there to spot it. This is a Persian town center, so we'll take quite a few mangonel shots to take out. Meanwhile, the 2 towers that were forward going down, we do have crossbow and bodkin now in for Mr. TaToH. And full walls at his base. Knights trying to get in, not finding much purchase here. Testing the walls with the backtrain camel, but seeing that it is indeed full walled. Mule camps behind, or mule camps, mule carts behind to keep it all protected. And TaToH is likely not going to get housed for a long time. TaToH actually getting war galley though from his one dock there. Oh, from the back dock, and likely going to be building. Oh, he has 3 fires in there. FreakinAndy does not have the food right now to afford war galley. Oh no! All the fishing ships have to run, and they're going to run towards this new dock, aren't they? TaToH with the strats. Can he afford? Okay, so FreakinAndy does see that there's a siege workshop now that his monastery's built, and he's building a second town center in the same area. Very risky. Fire galleys have taken out many fish, but are slowly being picked off by, or sorry, the fire ships have picked off the fish. Fire galleys picking off the fire ships. And continuing to produce. Did that villager go down? Or did she run? I don't know how she would have gone down. She's fully walled in. She might have come over here to this forward fortified church. Monk comes out right in time to start trying to get one of these conversions. Behind this, more mangonels coming over. I don't think FreakinAndy wants to make a new siege workshop if he doesn't need to. And castle in defense. How much stone did he have to buy? Looks like 200 stone. Scout thinking of coming in to snipe. And these archers' crossbows aren't really targeting villagers or microing that much. Monk might go down to the mangonel. Attack ground. Kind of comes in, and these villagers have to re-garrison. Mangonels are a little bit limited in their control. They're going to box out the monk, allow the knights to come in. Monk does make it into the fortified church, and mangonels should be able to clear up everything else. Villagers will need a repair, though. Knight comes out to keep the mangonel alive. One goes down to the spears anyways. Mangonel, in return for TaToH, takes out one of his own units. Castle goes up. Does the mangonel stay up? I think it will. At least for FreakinAndy, not for TaToH. Monks come out. We'll have to be very careful. And likely won't get the conversion. We'll just have to jump right back in. Dodging. Ooh, okay. TaToH is comfortable. Oh, almost gets hit by the shot. Really good attack ground by FreakinAndy. Goes for the same spot. And TaToH falls for it again. Takes out quite a few archers. Worth it. And FreakinAndy in a fairly comfortable position. Did take out this dock from TaToH. Does have some fishing ships that will need some focus. But yeah, that was a very nice hit from the mangonel. TaToH behind, adding more town centers up here in the mountain area. Has cleared quite a bit of the forest. Monks coming over with the crossbows. Could see more mangonels produce up here in the siege workshop from FreakinAndy. That is indeed what he's doing. Persians do not get redemption, so mangonels will clear up all of these units if they can land the hits like they did earlier. And FreakinAndy on some fish traps. Clearly not the high quality fish traps we expect of Black Forest players. Low quality, I have other things to focus on kind of fish traps. Even some camel archers here for, or not camel archers, sorry, cav archers here for TaToH. I mean, I guess the cav archers do reheal. Oh, that monk just barely came into the TC range, and those 2 villagers that were in it were enough to snipe the monk. It's kind of funny. Where's that mangonel now for... Okay, slowly finding its way over. And so many house walls to keep these range units out of FreakinAndy's main farming community. The Mangonel could not be any slower. We still have another dock up here for TaToH if you wanted to make more fires, but I think he's focused more on the land at the moment. Trying to get good micro. Does get a conversion on the Cav Archer. If he gets Parthian Tactics and Castle Age, the Persian opportunity there exists. I don't think that Parthian Tactics would help the converted unit. Who wins this fight? Trying to get another conversion on the Cav Archer. I think he gets... He doesn't get it. Ooh, that's rough. Might just need a few more light cav. There's not enough range units to take out the light cav now. And there is still that Mangonel, of course. So yeah, TaToH's pressure doesn't look like it's paid off. But of course, Georgians in the late game, so strong. Manaspa could come out once TaToH finishes this castle. And Mangonel just a little bit out of position. Trying to land those shots. And yeah, Cav Archers will deal well with the monk or with the knights as well. So knights are just gonna sit back for now and stay next to this fortified church that has a mule cart, a relic, and 2 villagers in it. It's just outside the range. Or I guess the castle's focusing on the siege workshop first. And villagers are tasked where? Oh, they're gonna build another siege workshop. Not letting FreakinAndy boom the way Persians want to, with their faster working town centers. TaToH also adding a stable down here. Kind of curious positioning. Couldn't be further away. And a fortified church to make sure these villagers are protected as knights are moving around the map. I mean, that stable might just be for upgrades to the cavalry archers. Which FreakinAndy's adding now. It's so funny that we have Cav Archer meta. That both of these, what arguably are Cav Civs, are making Cav Archers. Might actually get a conversion return. Yep, gets a conversion before the monk goes down. Worth. And Knights tracking forward. I didn't even see the Cav Archers made it through this little hole that I guess existed in FreakinAndy's base earlier. They can get so many kills here. There is no defense for FreakinAndy. It's just that TaToH needs to... Yeah, I mean, his micro is there. Soon we'll see Celt Paladins. Yeah. I was actually told to play Celt Paladin the other day in a team game. I did not do it. I felt bad. 4th town center coming up for FreakinAndy. Monk trying to get some return on investment. Get a villager in return. Does get it. Runs away. Cav Archer's trying to find a way into TaToH's base, but unlike FreakinAndy's own base, there are no holes in TaToH's base. TaToH even walling in some of the gold. Those Cav Archers will heal no more for TaToH. They are past. They have demised. Siege Workshop also denied. And Manaspa are in. The monk was enough to spot the villagers. FreakinAndy is going to need a lot of Cav Archers to deal with the Manaspa. Or rely on monks, as he so often has in this set. Has the monastery right here. And 4th town center now for TaToH. And 2nd castle down here, where there are more resources. Ooh, FreakinAndy thinking for a very forward castle. I mean, he realizes... Oh, he doesn't see the outposts from TaToH. I think he might be reconsidering that castle very, very soon. I really am wondering which villagers have been tasked to build that castle. There are a lot of Cav Archers, to be fair. 21 versus 13 military. So he might have the military to support that. Villager has come over here now to finish the siege workshop. Is successful at the last moment.
Get your arse.
Get your arse out of here is what FreakinAndy's responding to that comment from the villager. And Manaspa are just staying up top, maintaining the high ground. Both players getting Town Watch at the same time. They need to know what's going on. They need to know what to react to. There are so many different unit compositions going on in this map. FreakinAndy a little bit ahead in the boom by about 10 villagers. Has the fishing ships still working around the docks, but I feel like Manaspa can just run in there and take out the docks so quickly. Monk here in defense as well to try to get conversions. Will FreakinAndy notice in time? Manaspa just pathing? Okay, on the gold. Does notice. FreakinAndy does not. He's focused over here with the micro, with the cav archers. Might lose a lot of villagers. Did notice there. Didn't lose too many kills, I think. Or lose too many villagers. Only 3 kills in that group of Manaspa. Plus the monk. But it does feel like FreakinAndy has the composition to deal with the Manaspa between the cav archers and the camels. Camels actually pulling a lot of Manaspa out of position. I don't know if that's beneficial. FreakinAndy building a siege workshop right here just to deal with the siege workshop of TaToH. This is so different than so many of the Coastal Mountain games we've seen in the past, where it's just complete boomfest in Tyrell Imperial Age. These guys want map control. They do not want to let their opponent just kind of chill and hang out. FreakinAndy building a castle down here in the lowlands. There is more gold and stone here, and it could potentially protect his fish. Not that there's that much to protect. But you can see how quickly Manaspa grind through buildings. That siege workshop went down so quickly for FreakinAndy. And FreakinAndy not really able to afford any upgrades to these cav archers. The real upgrades here would be chemistry. And TaToH continuing just to play this in Castle Age. Just doesn't have the food economy behind this. I mean, I guess 46 farms. He'll be able to get there soon, but definitely invested more into his Manaspa to maintain military control. And also going for the forward castle. Did he see where FreakinAndy's castles were? He just wants to control this highland area where most of the wood is. FreakinAndy now building a castle here of his own. Again, Manaspa could just be in through that house so quickly. If I was FreakinAndy, all of these villagers would be building this castle. More fighting in the middle. Cav archers have to stay back. Now they're getting chemistry on the way. Heavy camel will be a really big upgrade. Let me just fast forward to make sure I'm up to count up. Yeah. Sometimes you can have differences in the speed. And I think once this goes up, those Manaspa will have to run away. Should be within range, especially with Bracer and... or not Bracer, sorry. Bodkin being in. Heavy camels just going down a bit too quickly. And FreakinAndy forced to return to his castle. Manaspa now being produced out of 3 castles for TaToH. He's just not even considering Imp? I guess he feels like he either has to continue fighting this in Castle Age, or he prefers to. Prevent FreakinAndy from getting all these upgrades and heavy camel. It does feel like Persians have the more mobile unit composition in late game, because there's no heavy camel for Georgians. But the Manaspa are just shredding through these cav archers. They only have the first armor, but I guess so are the Manaspa going down. Just a castle fight here. Treb is on the way. We'll see if FreakinAndy has shift queued his Treb, and even making sure to re-wall so the Manaspa can't come and snipe any trebuchets. Which does seem like it's the idea for TaToH. He could get in here, though. Sees the weak house. FreakinAndy's reaction. There's just Manaspa everywhere. Might be able to wall them out. There's camels as well to deal with the pressure. FreakinAndy's pretty much at maximum villagers, or as many as he wants to make. He's continuing to build more. Getting the last armor on his cavalry, which is mainly at this point camels. Maybe it affects the Bactrian camel he's had since the start of the game as well. And yeah, TaToH has this little position for himself that's buying him a lot of time. I think at this point he does need to get up though. He's adding pikemen. Or maybe he feels like, yeah, because I don't have the more mobile composition, because I need pikemen and help instead of camel, I need to hold a forward position. If I get pushed back, that's game. Castle back here is just being noticed now by FreakinAndy. Monk and villager building outposts along the shorelines. And we still have a fire out here from TaToH, which is funny. But it doesn't look like this castle is going to remain. Yeah, there we go. Georgians can repair a little bit easier, but you can't out-repair 3 trebs from the high ground. And villagers are going to go to collect some gold instead. TaToH still remaining in Castle Age. He is now housed now that the castle is dropped. More and more cav archers being produced for FreakinAndy. More camels being produced. All these production buildings seem to be forward down here in the lowlands. And do we have Parthian tactics? That's what I mentioned earlier, how Persians can get that in Castle Age. And we still don't have it, which will be very helpful against these pikemen. Also give the archers a bit more, or sorry, the cav archers a bit more armor against these beefy Manaspa hits. Have a few monks to help deal with the Manaspa. TaToH buying stone now. Presume that's for additional castles at home. No, he wants to build another castle forward. He needs to hold this position. Camels don't seem like they're doing it for FreakinAndy. He's thinking of switching into pikemen instead. Getting the armors for that. And now we see Thumbing and Parthian tactics. Doesn't quite have the eco, it feels like. Or at least the safe eco to invest into heavy cav archer, which Persians get as well. But Thumbring is already a huge boost to their accuracy. And FreakinAndy does have enough stone to build another castle forward to keep collecting these resources. He just doesn't have the military available and the awareness to keep microing. But yeah, that castle from TaToH is going to go down very quickly again. And FreakinAndy's being very careful to make sure these trebs do not get sniped. The only thing is he's missing areas to farm. He really needs to start farming down here, I think. Or really go crazy with the fish traps, which he hasn't really done. Is he... I thought he had more fish. He might have lost some fishing ships. Or it may have deleted them. I don't know. They might have been idle. Manaspa getting a little bit closer, but the castle has gone down. There's just nothing behind here to deal with the Manaspa. The cav archers are being pushed out because of one tower. They need to come in here. Manaspa are in, and TaToH is on the way to Imp. It feels like TaToH was held in Castle Age for so long. And I don't know why this game is so slow all of a sudden. Capture Age has been doing that to me recently, and I'm not sure why. If it's a setting, a computer having issue, or what. FreakinAndy tried to force down the castle down here to protect these villagers who have spent the last few minutes 50% active, just trying to run back and forth across the map. Cav archers and camels trying to clear up the Manaspa after the Manaspa snipe all of the trebs. We have Savon towers probably on the way now for TaToH. He's getting guard tower. Does he have... it's a Castle Age tech, right? He already has Savon towers. The cav archers absolutely have to respect the Savon towers. They will rip through multiple units at once. It's such a strong tech, but you just rarely see it because you're rarely in a position where towers matter that much. I think TaToH has this, despite not having the score lead right now. He has so much safe farming eco at home. All the fortified church here that are boosting the eco as well. Yeah, I would say Savon towers are better than Yasama towers. I've seen them too many times in games, but I've seen Viper play around with them occasionally. And yeah, they just feel like they rip through units. Funny enough, Persians have their own tech to improve the quality of their castles, but it's, I think, outside of the reach of FreakinAndy right now. They have citadels, which give gunpowder abilities to their castles. And here we go. TaToH rebuilding a very safe castle that will give him a bit more access to this top area from which he can fight from which he can repair for a lot less. Now, I did say that I think this is like in TaToH's hands now that he's up to Imp. But at the same time, he's kind of lost this position. He doesn't have the villagers here. I guess he still has villagers here who are denying some food being produced. But he doesn't have a great spot from which to make his pikemen and get them to the front lines. I guess he's just going to reposition these buildings up here. Both players coming to this section. Villagers fighting amidst all the other chaos. FreakinAndy trying to wall out the Manaspa. Does get the tap at the last moment. And Manaspa just funneled back around. But there's one tile here that hasn't been built. The saying is, if you don't realize, if your opponent doesn't realize it's built, it might as well not be built. But I think TaToH will realize. Yeah, FreakinAndy forgot. He prepared that tile, but he's a little bit too late. Gets the gate down, though. I don't know if that's enough, though. You need some military over here ASAP. It feels like TaToH has just had the lead in terms of getting the military in place. The Trebs went forward and have been blocked out by TaToH's villager here. More Manaspa have gotten around. I like the idea of all the walls here for FreakinAndy, but I don't know if it's been enough. Ram coming here to deal with the towers. Has already rammed down a tower, I guess. Or maybe a Treb took it out from over here. And these villagers have just been so idle. Obviously focusing on a lot here. Trebs will go down as well, now that the gate's been opened. And the military mass is larger for FreakinAndy, but it's just a mix of everything. He's down to 5 cav archers, a few pikemen, a lot of heavy camels still being produced, and trying to get his villager numbers back up. Whereas TaToH is very well popped, getting elite Manaspa now. The last upgrades he needs. It feels, I don't know, hard for FreakinAndy. Maybe needed some more walls down here to keep these Trebs up. And very easy for TaToH to repair these castles, even with only 100 stone in the bank. Manaspa everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah, we still just have the same farms down here. FreakinAndy using auto farm to its fullest extent now that he has cleaned up those Savant towers. But the Savant tower is also distracting FreakinAndy. Like, look at FreakinAndy's army. Complete AI army here. Just doesn't know what to do with itself. And meanwhile, yeah, even though TaToH's pop capped, he can continue to make towers to create extra military, so to speak. Manaspa just probably going to run back to a castle as they get chased by the camels. Look how fast they are. It's crazy. Why is my game so slow? If I pause and restart, no. It's still slow. I don't know. Like, I would expect the camels to do well here, but the Manaspa just have such a bonus to their attack, right? 14 plus 6, 20 attack on these Manaspa. And the camels just don't stand a chance. They don't have enough HP. Maybe Saracen camels could do the trick. But yeah, the Manaspa are just going to come down here, snipe these Trebs again, move on to do more damage. FreakinAndy relying on the massive walls. If he was Chinese, I'd say it's the Great Walls. But obviously, game point, you can't just give this away for free. He's got to try his best. Trying to get some gates down to protect the Trebs, to allow them a chance to take out this castle. But yeah, Manaspa just ripped through that so quickly. Once the Manaspa numbers start dwindling, TaToH does have to pull them back because they lose their advantage. The plus... I mean, they're at +5 right now. I guess I can't see the additional units. How the additional units help them increase their attack. Now they're down to just 9, so I think that drops their attack to by 1. Oh no, yeah, 14 plus 4 now. They don't get the morale from their comrades helping them out. Halb now coming in for FreakinAndy. He's up to 67 farms. His worker efficiency is bumping back up now that he's had a little bit of breathing time. And it feels like, I don't know, where's, I guess TaToH's pop capped. And he's trying to reproduce pikes himself. Could get help himself soon. Yeah, I don't know why it feels like TaToH's on the back foot right now. Maybe just using the Manaspa to fight in smaller areas. Starting to take slightly worse trades. Especially now that Halb is in. It's crazy that you have to build 2 units to deal with cavalry when you're fighting against the Manaspa. Because they're just so strong. FreakinAndy now out of stone. And it doesn't feel like he'll be able to hold that position. Getting the last armor on his helps now. And thinking about late game. I didn't really pay attention to who's collecting relics. Looks like they both have 2 relics. TaToH collected them a little bit earlier. So it has generated more gold. Almost twice as much gold. Monospec coming in again, or thinking about coming in for the, what's it called? The Trebuchet. Look how quickly the Monospec get through the gate. They just tap it, and they're in. And this fight looks like it could go either way. Georgian Halbs don't have the last armor right now. But yeah, with the Manaspa, it's enough. And it feels like TaToH has control of this game. He has the score lead. He has the Savon towers everywhere. They're just guard towers, but they have the Savon tower tech. And this is so much of FreakinAndy's economy. I want to say it's some of his last gold. He's completely out of stone, right? Can't rebuild these castles, can't repair them. Doesn't have any of this gold in the top area that TaToH has taken. And Georgian's in the high ground. Just like in what we learned in history. Very difficult to deal with. Persians couldn't do it. The Byzantines couldn't do it. They just ended up having to ally themselves, rely on diplomacy instead of warfare. Manaspa coming back to help protect this trebuchet, and the positioning was just seemed perfect for TaToH. Now we have the last armor coming in for these Georgian Halbs, and yeah, I don't see the opportunity here for FreakinAndy to make any major plays. Maybe if he had a crazy fish boom, because his fish were kind of safe after the start, after early Castle Age. I guess we have hand cannons. That's an option. But this is also like where FreakinAndy has most of his gold. I guess if your hand cannons stay alive behind while you have a solid meat shield. TaToH even taking some map control with the fortified churches, which, you know, don't require any stone. Just wood that he's floating plenty of. TaToH, if anything, could use a few more farms, and that's what he's building up right now. Continuing to build fortified churches to boost their efficiency, villager efficiency. It's not looking good for FreakinAndy. So low on gold, only 6 on gold now. Manaspa continuing to find ways into this city that he's trying to build up. And I think once FreakinAndy sees this, he might call it. Down to 150 pop. Selling food for gold. Does still have 50 farmers somewhere. But 24 idols. And probably equal numbers that are going to go down to this raid. Still has this top side in spirit, but he hasn't actually been able to collect this gold very efficiently because of all the houses he's had to build around it earlier. And there he says, GG, well played. And FreakinAndy says, have fun in Hamburg. Maybe a bit disappointed, but I think TaToH earned it. I would say TaToH has indeed earned it. FreakinAndy did have a good showing here, but I feel like there's still a different skill level between these players. I think if FreakinAndy was in one of the other brackets, he would have had an easier time, or he had the skill level to get in, but getting stuck with TaToH is, yeah, very difficult, especially when TaToH is on form. So GG's.